Morning all, hope you're doing well. The pink book's back out because there's just 7 weeks until the transfer window opens. It's quite a long time though, isn't it? I've got no doubt though that West Ham will be drawing up their shortlist, having a little look as to who we can bring in to strengthen David Moyes' side, should he wish to spend. There's not much rumours yet as to how much money we've got to spend, but they'll be along. I've got no doubt that number will come to the surface prior to the window opening. We've of course going to have to put 25 million to one side for the permanent purchase of Saïd Benrahma once the season is completed. But we didn't spend too much in the summer, still graded in Ghana. You'd expect there's maybe a little bit of money for David Moyes to play with, but who are we being linked with? Well, the first big transfer rumour is actually a departure of Andre Yarmolenko. He's been linked to Fenerbahce. I can see there being something in this, not necessarily Fenerbahce. There's always Turkish sides linked to our players. Whenever we are looking to sell a player, they're always linked to Fenerbahce, Besiktas. They're always linked to Turkish sides. I don't know why. They just are. Chicharito was heavily linked there as well. Jack Wilshere's always been linked to that. There's always been Turkish sides. Anyway, Yarmolenko. So I think do I think could move to Fenerbahce? No. But do I think we are looking to move him on? Possibly. He's still got over a year to go on his contract, on big wages, on over £100,000 a week. I don't think we would command a transfer fee for him, to be honest with you. If he left tomorrow, I would expect him to go on a free transfer and West Ham just be pleased to get the wages off the bill. We've still got a big financial commitment to him should he remain at the club on that much wages. But would I like to see him go? I'm torn a little bit, in all honesty. I do think he's a fantastic player. I think he's a really, really good player. He's won us points. He's come on post-lockdown, got that winner against Chelsea, come on this season against Spurs. But there's also games he's played poor, isn't there? And I think this season he's had more poor ones than good ones, which is a bit disappointing. I do think David Moyes has an element of trust in him. We saw that against Man City when Antonio got injured. Sebastian Haller was on the bench. Lanzini was on the bench. But he turned to Yarmolenko first and foremost. Is he still that high up in the pecking order? I'm not so sure, because we just have to look at the Fulham game and he took on Lanzini and Benrahma. I do think, though, he might have took him on should we not have to use the substitution in the centre-back area when Ogbonna got injured. I do think the third sub might have been Yarmolenko. Possibly for Sebastian Haller, he might have taken off Masuaku or something and tried to put an extra attacker on there and go win the game. But we'll never know. I do think if he wasn't on big wages, I don't think we'd shift him on. I wouldn't want to see him go because, like I said, I do think on his day, technically, he's one of our best players. Simple as that, really, in my opinion. But he's injury prone. He's not the greatest age. His contribution this season's been limited, very limited. You look at the options we'd still have should he have left. Would we miss him? I think we'd miss having a player, if that makes sense. The squad would be getting thinner. I think we'd miss the option of having an attacking player there, but I don't think we'd miss Yarmolenko per se, if that makes any sense at all. As long as we brought someone in that can play that role, I'd be happy enough. He's going to struggle to get into what is his favourite position because Jared Bowen's in it, and even when he is in there, I'm not sure he's got the defensive work ethic that Moyes requires. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I don't think we have a position for Andre Yarmolenko with this formation. We're not. While we sit here and say we should change the way we play for Sebastian Haller, I think there's a big difference to changing and setting your team up to get the best out of a striker. It's cost you 45 million and is going to score you goals. I think that's acceptable. I'm not so sure you would change your system in order to get the best out of an attacking midfielder. You would if it was someone was top class. He's not quite that good, so I don't think it justifies changing the whole 11, because we'd have to change formation. I think you'd almost have to give him a sort of not a free role, but you'd have to try and get him far up the pitch as possible. I think his role basically is backup for Jared Bowen and third choice striker at the minute, and £115,000 a week wages is a lot of money to pay for someone doing that role. So would I like to see him leave? Possibly, to be honest with you. But more to come on that one. The one we're being linked with recently though is Moussa Dembele of Lyon. Got a fantastic goal scoring record in France, although it's not quite worked for him this season. Nearly 1 in 2 since he's joined from Celtic, where he had a very similar goal scoring record as well. Just 24 years of age though. I think he's a talented player. Would I like to see him at West Ham? Of course I would. I think he's got all the skills. I think he's got all the ability. But so does Sebastian Haller, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it's going to work. 30 million he's been touted at. And this is where the rumour ends for me. I just don't see us having 30 million. I know some people might then say, well, could we be selling Sebastian Haller and looking at Moussa Dembele as his replacement? I'm not convinced on that either, if I'm honest with you. I think if you were to give David Moyes 30 million and sell Sebastian Haller, I think Moyes would still be a little bit more clever with the money. I think he'd still just go get Josh King and maybe another player for around about that 10, 15 million pound mark, and then he'd still be able to bring another player in. I think that's what Moyes would do. I think he'd improve the squad. Moussa Dembele, I'd love to see him at West Ham. I do. I think he's got plenty of time. He's not, if he was 30, 31 years old, I wouldn't like him. I'd be looking at his goal scoring record recently and being a bit, ooh, is he struggling a bit? He's 24, he's got plenty of time. But I'm not excited about this in the slightest. I don't believe it for 1 second is what I'm trying to say. Martin Braithwaite, we've been linked with him for about 5 years. We were linked with him with Bilic here. But we're being linked with him again. He's gone to Barcelona. As we know, he went to Barcelona last year after all that palaver with the transfer window shut in, and Barcelona made an emergency signing to bring him in, and then the club that bought him off couldn't go make one or something. I can't remember. There was some sort of madness around this deal anyway. Barcelona flexing their muscle in La Liga. He's not getting game time under Koeman. He's just not played. I think he's played about half an hour of football. The Euros are just round the corner. Denmark need him to be playing football. They're missing a couple of their top players. Eriksen hasn't played as much minutes as he possibly could for Inter Milan as well. So Denmark are getting a little bit panicky about a couple of their top players in their squad not getting enough minutes. So Martin Braithwaite's one of them. The Danish manager, by the sound of it, is putting a little bit of pressure on him to get him out of Barcelona, go somewhere, get some first team football and get ready for the summer. Koeman just doesn't fancy him. I think he's more believable than Dembele, because going by what it sounds like there could be a deal to be cut with Braithwaite. Could we get him on loan? Could someone get him on loan? Possibly. Would he suit David Moyes? Possibly. I think he works hard. When you watch that Danish, I've not watched him in La Liga, but I've watched him play for Denmark. You know, they work hard, they're very organised, so there's similarities there, but like I said, it's 2 games every 3 months I get to see at the most, so don't take my judgment for that one. But we're being linked with him. This is a transfer rumour show. It's a transfer rumour. I'm giving it to you. The Czech League, apparently that's where we are looking for our next signings. We're being linked with Slavia Prag's goalkeeper now. We're just going after all their players. I do want to see us target a goalkeeper, not necessarily for January, but for next summer. So I want us to get that scouting done, identify a top talent. If you want proof of why number 1 is so important, you've got 2 in the Premier League. This season, you've got Martinez at Aston Villa. 20 million they paid to get him in from Arsenal. Being the best goalkeeper in the league, in my opinion. Last season, Dean Henderson, one of the best goalkeepers in the league. He's gone back to Manchester United. Sheffield United are now struggling to pick up points. Is it a coincidence? I'm not convinced. I think there is a element of people working Sheffield United out and they're not playing as good as they were. I think they've been a bit unlucky actually, Sheffield United. I think they've deserved more points through their performances than what they've got. But the one player they are missing compared to last season is the goalkeeper. So I'd like to see us targeting someone. I don't know anything about the keepers in the Czech Republic. I don't know anyone in the Czech Republican League. I just hope we're not focusing solely on that league. I think it'd be a bit naive. But I can understand why you'd go back after what we would consider the success of Souček and Sofal. And more importantly, really good value for money. To sign them both for around 22 million in total, it's a bit of a bargain, isn't it? So I get why we're looking there. We're being late with Josh King. I'm not going to talk about that one. David Moyes was regretted. He regrets missing out on Fofana. He's gone to Leicester. What a player he looks, isn't he? I think he'd only played about 20 games when Leicester signed him. That's why it was a bit like, oh, that's a lot of money to pay for someone who's not played that much. But he's gone into that Leicester defence, slotted in perfectly. It looks like he's going to be a top class centre-back. I can understand why David Moyes is regretting missing out on him. But what's more interesting is it would indicate, if this is true, because like I said, I think it's rumours and stuff, but I'm not sure I've seen a direct quote from him, but it does come from the Evening Standard, who David Moyes writes for. It would indicate that Moyes wanted him, which surprised me, to be honest with you. I thought it was a David Sullivan, not gamble, but I thought it was very much a David Sullivan involvement transfer, if that makes sense. So I'm a bit surprised that Moyes was the one that wanted to bring him in, and I'm definitely not surprised he regrets it, because what a player it looks like Leicester City have got on their hands. And the last one is Frederic Alves. Now this is probably the most likely signing of them all. Playing at the minute for Salzburg, they confirmed Alves is leaving. He's 20-year-old centre-back. Quite a tall centre-back by the looks of it. He's 6'4" or something. The club themselves has confirmed he will be leaving, and West Ham is the most likely destination. He's been spotted in Stratford. That's how likely it is. He's been spotted there, 1.4 million. So I think it's going to be more of a Cardoso signing where we'll buy him and put him in another 23s for a little bit, and hopefully he can make the step up. But we've got some late competition. Leeds United are the only other Premier League club that's been linked with him, but Torino in Italy is the ones that are sort of our biggest rivals for his signature. But it seems like we've got the march on these clubs. It seems likely that he could be joining West Ham, and I know nothing about him. Never heard of him, but do you know something? If you've heard of this guy before being linked with him, bar you being Danish or living in Denmark, then absolutely fair play to you, because your football knowledge is second to none. Unlike us on this channel, right? Anyway, that's your latest West Ham transfer rumours. 7 weeks till the window opens. There's going to be plenty more rumours. I'm going to disappear now. I've been Gio, I've been Hamstrat. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to me around here. And I'll catch you in a bit with lots more transfer rumours.